how do I select and prepare my trade show staff for each event? And then this is one of the least asked questions. Why is it one of the least asked questions, and how is it typically approached?
We just think that the booth, I think people are conditioned, get the booth and it's impressive. And you're not thinking about the fact that I might talk to 100 prospects tomorrow. If I'm honest about the opportunity, the General Dan McLean with Trade Show Displays, who's a guy that, we partner with and do a lot of work for, and he sponsors some of these episodes. This guy's always walking the show floor. He said, nobody's talking to me anymore. He goes, single digit percentage of people that engage me, they are broadcasting their discomfort of not knowing what to say or do. No, but they do know that it's their responsibility to engage and get people stopped and talking. So they stand there awkwardly and watch people walk by, and you're just killing the ROI. So I'm saying, maybe it's not your best salespeople who you think are intuitively, you're going, those are the ones they're going to have there. If you have a technical product, you might need somebody on duty that's going to be able to talk about the technical product. If you just got great customer service people, man, there's a company I used to work for. Everybody talked about the lady that was the receptionist because she was just, I remember Pam Morrison, right? I would pick up the phone and I'd call for an executive at the manufacturing plant and I'd say, hey, Pam, it's Chris Griffin. Oh, Chris, well, how are you doing? And how is that brother Peter and your other brother Dan doing? And that lovely wife of, oh my goodness, when are we going to see you again? It was every time I called, she was like the vice president of reception services. I want somebody like that on duty, but also coached up enough that I can say when they go, okay, this is great. I know we went through what the new service offering is. You've gotten to see what the version 2.0 of the software is. We talked a little bit about that. Sounds like you already have it. I made a note that you had a question about this. Okay, this is great. One question I have is, how would you like me to follow up with you? And then make a note of that and do it, right? Don't just follow up, follow through on doing that. But we need really great staffers that are going to take great notes. We talked about this in the past. If you're not having a 20-minute wrap-up meeting after everybody leaves when the show ends to compare notes while everything is fresh, and then you should already have your post-show follow-up plan determined and decided. The real winners are uploading and sharing those with the follow-up team back home. So if there's information packets that are going out, if there's emails that are going out, I've been at shows where I'm getting an email the next morning from somebody that I visited. They're just super on top of following that up. But you're making notes in there about if this is pipeline activity, is this an A lead, a B lead, a C lead, or whatever your classification is? So we know how to follow up. The A leads are going to get a gift and a phone call and hopefully a scheduled appointment. The C leads are going to get an invitation to the open house we're having in 3 months. And, they're going to be tickled by a rep's going to do an introduction call. So, but none of this is by accident, and all of it should be predetermined before the event kicks off, Khalil.
Yeah. Really interesting. There's so much that goes into it. And I think for a lot of people, the reason why these questions are the least asked are because they just think that, if you build it, they will come type mentality. We get the booth, everything is going to work out. But there's a lot of strategy that goes into this, which is why it's great to work with a partner. Okay, so I think this next least asked question is probably one of the most valuable for being able to measure and select the staff like we just talked about. But what is my exhibit's job at a trade show?
Well, that's
I think if we can define that really sets the foundation, that's a big right?
One. We have a booth. Well, it's where we conduct it. What does that mean? I think that, and does the staff know what the job is? I think that's one of the things that's failed to be asked. The purpose of the booth is, you say, oh, well, it's where we're going to meet our prospects or our customers. What's happening when you meet them? Are you sitting down with them? Are you just shaking hands and thanking them with their business? Is there a contract or a customer service issue that you're going to the private meeting room with versus those open tables at the conversation areas? Is there something new that you want to educate them about? Is there an information exchange that needs to take place? Is there a brand new shiny product you're showing, and this is their opportunity to actually see it, not online, but in a real setting, a machine, or seeing how it works? Do you want to introduce them to their customer service rep, who they always talk to on the phone, but they've never gotten to meet? You want to think about, and hopefully the booth has then been designed with for what the primary objective is, and then also in a way that can help you achieve some of those secondary goals or objectives. But yeah, they don't. It's not asked, but it's going to force you to. It might affect the design when you say, "What's the booth's job?" It's definitely also going to affect how your staff behaves. You got to remember to train them to use it accordingly.
Yeah. Okay. So I think if you define that, this really helps with the next question. But is this show really worth our participation?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not as much anymore, but I still hear a few people, and it used to be all I heard 10 years ago. We go to the show because we've always gone, or we go to the show because it's the big industry show, or we go to a show because if we don't go, people are going to think we're out of business, and that would be bad, right? These are lousy reasons to spend big dollars and travel a great distance to participate in a exhibition or an event like that. I'd rather, who's your ideal customer? We all talk about that, and you define that as what the company is. But then within that company, is your product or service typically being marketed to procurement people, purchasing agents? Sometimes software's that way, or we were talking about QuickBooks at the break. If you're Intuit, right, or QuickBooks, you might only be talking with accounting people or purchasing people. That's not necessarily, I'm not saying you might not be at the big industry show, but maybe you can look at smaller vertical or regional shows and you get a better bang for your buck. So I'm interested in researching the show. I want to vet it. You're telling me that you get, 3,650 very high quality people, in this job description. How do I verify that? Ask them, has the show been audited by a third party? Can they verify that? If you get online and Google, a lot of times there's reviews about it. But, what's really frustrating is when show organizers or associations pad those numbers by including other exhibitors and the association staff and spouses that might come to attend because there's a spouse program. I'm interested in how many decision makers are really there. So, when I say, is it the right show to go to, do your homework and make sure the audience that you specifically want to reach is going to be there. Then go.